So I got
No, you
Deontay
good.
here with us today. I'm gonna explain to you guys how I met this guy. So I'm relatively new to TikTok. You know, I've been throwing videos up there, and I'll scroll through, and I saw Deontay on there, and he was talking about getting rid of eviction. Normally, I don't ever. I mean, every time I see certain stuff, if I don't believe it, I'll never respond. I'll just listen, and I'll be like, okay, if it's not being said, it was cool. But that day, which Deontay, he has no idea. I just got off the phone with a client that I had that was trying to get an eviction removed off of their credit. So, hey, I wanted to jump in right now and tell you guys not to forget down below to check out my free letter bundle. You'll get 4 letters absolutely free to help you on your credit journey. There's a pay to delete, a goodwill letter, a cease and desist letter, as well as a debt validation letter. That's to help you out on your journey. Be sure to check that out in the description down below. In my understanding, when it comes to eviction removals, as far as evictions go, as a public record, getting them removed off of your credit, you can get it off of your regular FICO score or whatever, regular credit, but the apartments and so forth, they have an internal system that they use that we as consumers don't have access to, and we
Yep.
can't get stuff removed that way. So I always tell people, yeah, I can get off your credit. If you want to get another credit card or something along those lines, great. But if you're trying to get another apartment, I don't have access to remove that information. And so I just got off the phone with that person, and I just happened to be scrolling through TikTok, and I saw Deontay, and he was talking about removing. So initially, right off the bat, I was a little upset because I'm like, dude, here's another person out here telling people they can remove evictions, and it's not done this way. So I sent him a text message on there, and immediately he saw what I said and he addressed it. And at first I was shocked because most people, when you go on there, I'll go on people's lives, especially on TikTok, and people will be saying stuff negative, and you'll see it in the comments, and they'll automatically block them. But Deontay, he didn't. He rose right to the challenge, number one. And he was just like, nah, bro, like, no, you can. I can do this. And so I was like, you know what? Let me look at what he's saying. And then he was saying all the right stuff, going to those other credit bureaus that we don't have access to as a regular consumer to get them removed, or even a credit repair agency. And so I'm like, what the heck? Okay, so he knows what he's saying. So as I'm looking, I'm researching, the thing I respect about him is not only did he address what it was that I was saying, but as time progressed, I followed him and I kept seeing him go live. And I'm like, there's no way a person's going live like this dude does all day long if it's BS, right? And so I would see other people in the comments and people would say stuff. And one of the things I got to say about this man is that he's poised and he don't let crap rattle him. And he definitely will just address your questions, whatever it is that you have, even if you're a hater. Now, there's trolls and people who go on stuff and just constantly do stuff negative, and you got to block them. But this dude, man, that was that. So give a brief introduction of who you are and how you got into what it is that you do. Let me guess. You're trying to clean up your credit on your own, and now you're stuck because your dispute letters came back as verified. What do you do next? What you do next is you join my private school community, which will give you the tools that are needed to get to the 700 Club. I do live Q&As to answer specific questions you need to help you with your credit journey, and there are tools in the classroom to help you as well. As an added bonus, if you join this month, I will coach you one-on-one for 60 days. Click the link to get started.
For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Deontay Bodrick. I started removing evictions because I had my very own evictions. I had to fix my own situation. And I started doing this for like families and friends. I started doing this for free for 100 people. I started hosting like seminars back in my hometown as a way to give back so that I could really make an impact, right? I feel like this was something that God had wanted me to do. At first, I didn't really want to do it because I didn't want to have to worry about clients and things like that. And essentially, I started to really pick up on it. I was working with this attorney and she was telling me different ways to make my process 100%. And so essentially, I was like, man, let me figure out how to make this a 100% process so that I can help other people. And so I want to quickly show you guys something. I'm going to share my screen now. As you guys can see right here, this is his TikTok
account. He has 18,000 followers on here, a bunch of likes, a bunch of stuff, and this is where I found him. This guy goes live for hours at a time on TikTok explaining his whole eviction removal and how to set it up. In all honesty, we're going to talk after this. I'll most likely buy it because obviously I want to learn how it is that he's doing what he's doing outside of what any other credit repair company can do. I have a lot of respect for you because not only when I came negative, you just answered it and just kept on going with what you were going. And then I asked him about jumping on an interview with me so that he can teach the audience that I have on YouTube. And now I'm gonna just go through some questions really quick. Number one, the first question I have for you really quick. Can you explain the impact an eviction can have on someone's credit report and overall credit score?
First and foremost, it can affect your mental health, because you're not going to be able to get qualified for the things that you are entitled to in life, which is having a home, having a roof over your head, and not only just having a roof over your head, but the one that you actually want, right? It can also impact your credit because it's going to stop you from being able to get an apartment, get credit cards. It's going to impact your score and bring it down because this is now something that's negatively reporting on your credit report. So these things are going to hinder you in the process, whether if you're trying to get credit, whether if you're trying to get a car. These things can stop you from getting further ahead in life. And so, from my personal experience, it granted me a great depression because I became homeless. I went through the motions like most people, lived at people's houses, lived in hotels. And so I tell people all the time, like, if you just take a second to do this process, it's going to change your life.
I wish I would have known him beforehand. I've been doing credit repair, and every time someone would come to me, and I'm honest with credit repair. One of the things I'm always going to be honest. When people were asking about removing evictions, I would just tell them straight up, like, "Hey, I can get it off your credit report, but if you're trying to get another apartment, I'm not going to be able to help you there." And I would tell people that right off the bat because I didn't want them coming back to me saying it's not on my credit, but for whatever reason, I still couldn't get the new apartment. And so this guy, he knows what he's doing and he knows what he has. So let's go to the second question. What are the first steps someone should take if they discover an eviction on their credit report?
First and foremost, because a lot of people leave apartments not knowing if they've been evicted. Most states require that the landlord file for an eviction or evict that tenant, know whether if they're in the property or not, to regain possession of the property. So they need to go to the clerk of courts of that county and search the public records to be sure that they have an eviction to begin with, right? Then look at the collection that's on their credit report, see who the apartment complex is. It's going to say original creditor, and it's going to let you know who that original creditor is. If it says the LLC of the apartment complex from which you were evicted from, that's how you're just going to know off the bat. But the first step to removing it is pulling all of your reports. This is very vital because it's hard to fight a battle that you cannot see. So you need to see how they are wording your eviction or how what the description is, what it is that they have reported also, because you may have other judgments that you are unaware of that could also hinder you from getting an apartment. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you're clearing all judgments, criminal records, things like that that you have on this report with your background reporting agencies. These are going to be what you call public record reporting agencies. So you're going to go and clear those, dispute these agencies from top to bottom, everything tied to that eviction. Then you want to go to your rental reporting agencies. From your rental reporting agencies, you want to make sure that you're removing that negative rental history because this is also a part of the tenant screening. So your rental report. Then you want to clear it from your credit report. As he said, he's probably one of the best to do it from the credit report. So again, you want to go ahead and make sure that you clear it from the credit report because they also check your credit report when it comes to your tenant screening.
Obviously, like he stated, he had an attorney. So there's an inside scoop, right? One of the things I always tell you guys, when it comes to placing stuff on credit reports and getting them deleted, I know because I used to pay and put accounts on people's credit reports because it's one of the ways you get paid. The thing he stated was is you gotta pull a copy of your credit report. And we're not talking the free Credit Karma where you only get two, or we're not talking getting it, through most people's credit card companies or your bank, they'll give you a credit report. What's on one credit report might not be on all three. I always stress to you guys. Me personally, when I used to place accounts on people's credit report, I would only put it on one credit report. And the reason why is wasn't no tactical thing to it. It's because it costs money. So
Right.
putting it on one credit report is cheaper. And so what happens is that people pull either their Experian credit report only or Equifax and TransUnion, which is what you get through Credit Karma, and then something's on one of those other credit reports and you have no idea. So credit monitoring is almost like a report card for school. You gotta get it. And ultimately, $30 from anywhere from 20 to $30, pay for it because it'll save you and you can see everything on all three credit bureaus. So that's awesome, dude. I love the stuff that you're saying here. What are some common misconceptions people have about evictions and their credit reports?
So a lot of people believe that an eviction, just because they don't see the eviction on their credit report, that they don't have an eviction, which is not true.
Right.
A lot of times, just because you don't see the eviction there doesn't mean that you don't have it. It just means that it's not showing up in those agencies or those bureaus. So again, you must dispute your background and your rental report because these are agencies who are going to number one, verify your eviction with the credit bureau. They're going to also give this information to your new landlord to whom you're applying to. So this is why this is very vital.
Perfect, bro. My last question for you. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with the aftermath of an eviction on their credit report?
The biggest thing for me was not removing my eviction, but it was correcting the habits that got me the eviction in the first place. So having financial structure, the biggest thing for people is their habits. A lot of people suffer injuries on their job, different things. But if you are financially stable or you have credit, high credit to the point where you could miss a month or two, right? If your finances are good and they are together, if something happens, it's already good because you got it covered, right? And so the biggest thing is changing the habits, changing the structure of what we're used to, doing something completely different. That's the biggest thing I would say because once you start picking up those little pieces, working on yourself internally, everything gets better from there. And
Yeah.
so that's the biggest thing I would say.
So you guys in my audience, a lot of stuff that he's saying is exactly what I always say with regards to stuff. The reality is when I first started cleaning people's credit up, what would happen is I would do it on their own, right? Stuff will disappear, things will come out. I'll come back to them. Yep, we got rid of those accounts. All of a sudden, 3 to 6 months later, I get them right back because they done messed up again. So you have to change your habit. Deontay, bro, I'm so happy that you decided to do this. We're going to do more with regards to
Definitely.
stuff. Down in the description, it'll have everything for you to get in contact with you for the eviction removals and so forth, as well as myself. I'm probably going to buy it from him. Trust me, I'm not asking him for no commission. I'm bringing him on here because I know he knows what he's talking about, and I want to help everybody with regards to that. Any final words?
Do your research, right? Number one. Number two, make sure that you guys are taking the time to pour back into yourself first and foremost, because a lot of people get stuff removed and they don't look at the bigger picture on things. But other than that, I would recommend you guys tapping in with Ask a Debt Collector because he knows what he's talking about as well. And again, I appreciate you for having me on here.
Yep, no problem, no problem, man. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. And as I always state, you be great.